agrees. Join us on the Fan Hotline. Mary Kay, another caller joining us from across the pond. How are you, Mary?
I'm doing great. How you doing? I'm just about to get on the bus to go to Browns practice.
Any tea and crumpets yet? Any fish and chips?
I definitely have had some chips. 2 servings of chips yesterday.
Love it.
No fish yet, and probably some crumpets at some point soon.
Love it.
All right, and when you go to practice, are you going to shove a microphone or a camera in Shedeur Sanders' face? Mary Kay, I'm watching ESPN we had on in studio. We peruse all the different networks and the local affiliates in the morning, and they had a 10-minute segment on Shedeur Sanders and what he was doing yesterday in the locker room. It was on Scott Van Pelt last night. I've seen it everywhere, Mary Kay. Is this gone too far officially?
You know what? I think that I really actually think that Shedeur, in his own way, was trying not to steal the show for Dillon Gabriel yesterday. I think by him not saying anything, he was trying not to create the next headline. He knows that he's a content machine. He knows exactly the power of his words, and I think he was trying not to do that. And it didn't work out that way, but I don't think he had any ill intent. I don't think he was trying to say, hey, look at me, this is all about me today.
I just think it's time for the Browns to tell him, hey, listen, media's coming in. Go find somewhere to hang out for 45 minutes, and then you can come in. Players hide on us all the time.
Go to the Johnny Manziel closet.
Yeah, right. How often is Miles ever in the locker room until Fridays when he talks? You never see Miles in the locker room when media is there, and he's not the only one. You
have to understand something about Shedeur. He grew up in the spotlight. He grew up in the fishbowl. They have live streamed their whole entire lives. Yeah. They want everything out there. In fact, you may have seen that Dion commented on this on Instagram, and he gave it 10 laughing emojis. So this is a family that's used to being in the media, in the spotlight. And, of course, from a journalistic sports writer standpoint, I don't want him hiding. And if I were the Browns, they're not supposed to tell their players to go hide somewhere, so I wouldn't do that. I think that we need all the players available all the time. That's what they're supposed to be. So I'm a big advocate of access. So I wouldn't tell him to go hide. And it's up to him what he wants to say. So, I do think it's relevant. I do think it's a story how Shedeur Sanders feels about this, because there was a chance that perhaps you would make him the backup quarterback. So I think it is a question, and I think it is a fair one. And he could have just said, hey, I'm just putting my head down, working hard, happy for Dillon, and off we all go.
Can we agree this is why 31 teams passed on him at least 5 times, because they don't want this nonsense and mess in their locker room over the third-string quarterback?
You know what? That may have been part of it for some teams. I think the other part of it for some teams was the fact that, things that we have even heard Andrew Berry say now, is the fact that he went from a sort of English class to Mandarin in terms of what he was going to have to learn as far as calling the play in the huddle, sliding the protections, and doing all of those things that you had to do pre-snap. He didn't show up in the NFL as ready to do those things as some other people, including Dillon Gabriel, and I think that had a lot to do with it.
Mary Kay Cabot, Plain Dealer at Cleveland.com on the Fan Hotline. So, Mary Kay, the decision to go with Dillon Gabriel, is this anywhere near the timing that some in the building might have expected? And how confident is this team and the decision makers truly in his ability to go out there and not just perform, but win a football game?
I don't think that I don't think they wanted to do it this early at all. I think that they had hoped that Joe could hold down the fort for half the season or longer and kind of see how everything goes. So they really needed him to just play clean football, and he wasn't able to do that. And not all of it was his fault, of course. We know that. But he just wasn't able to stop turning the ball over, and the offense wasn't functioning well with him. And the receivers weren't flourishing with him in the football game. So sometimes you just have to make a change and see if everything comes together.
So what do you expect out of Dillon Sunday? Lyman thinks he's going to be an absolute disaster, and I think he's going to be competent.
Well, the thing about Dillon is the fact that he's a poised player. He has a lot of confidence. He has started 63 games. I know Brian Flores is going to try to make his job extremely difficult, but he is, he's a very, again, experienced player. Hard to say that when somebody's a rookie. But I think that they will find enough things for him to do well that I think he will operate pretty efficiently. So that's the plan. And the thing that he has to not do is turn the ball over. So we'll see what Brian Flores' defense has in store for him. They're going to try to exploit his height. They're going to try to exploit the tackle situation. I think it's going to be a shorter, zippier, snappier offense that you're going to see. I think you'll see some RPOs and some movement, more bootlegs, rollouts, anything that has to do with some quarterback movement. Get that pocket moving and get things a little bit less predictable than they were.
Obviously, you want to make life easier on a rookie with steady offensive line play. Who is going to be playing right tackle, which is going to be pretty important this week, considering the lefty, and who's going to be playing left tackle?
Well, we're heading over to practice now, so I'll have a better idea on that later today, although we don't get to watch very much practice. But hopefully for Dylan Gabriel that Jack Conklin will be back, because you really would want Jack to be protecting your blind side over there as the right tackle. So hopefully for Dylan that will happen. Don't know, can't say for sure yet, but that would be advantageous for him. And then is Cam Robinson ready to start over there at left tackle? I would go ahead and throw him in there as long as he's up to speed enough, and he should be by Sunday. He's started a game already this season. He's played in several games this season, so he's in football shape. And I think the alternative might possibly be worse, so I would go ahead and do that.
Jack Conklin would be huge upgrade, obviously, if he's able to come back. Do you think, I just thought of this, do you think there's any chance that they know in the back of their mind, hey, Jack's probably going to be good, that's why we can make this move, rather than the tackle situation that they've had the last couple of weeks with a rookie? Or am I reading way too much into it on a Thursday?
You know what? I think that they were hopeful that could happen, but I don't think that was a huge factor. I think the number one factor in all of this was the fact that they just could not protect the football, and that you're never going to win games when you're turning it over 3 times a game. And when you're getting blown out the way that they did in Detroit, that was an embarrassing loss for this organization. They're not going to stand for that. They've got good players on this team. Your championship caliber defense isn't going to stand for that very long. So I think, that could be a nice bonus for them to get Jack Conklin back, but not a reason why they did it.
You're in that locker room way more than just about anybody else. Did you get a feel at all about how the veterans on that team, and I know Joe Flacco being 40 adds to this, but they're the oldest team in the NFL by age this season. At least I've seen somewhere around those numbers, depending on the roster each week. How do the veterans feel about going to a rookie, especially a third-round draft pick this early, or were they done with Joe Flacco because the play just wasn't up to par?
Well, first of all, I was not in the locker room yesterday because I arrived in London yesterday morning. We did not know exactly when we needed to be here back when we made all those reservations.
Well, had Flacco lost them, over the last few weeks?
No, I don't think he had lost them, because we had talked to veterans after the game, like Joel Bitonio, who had said, we still believe in him. I think a lot of players looked out there and saw that this offense is not a well-oiled machine yet. And Dylan Gabriel is going to suffer through some of this, too, and there will be growing pains. This was an offense that went through a 4-way quarterback competition. They don't necessarily have the timing and chemistry down with any one of the quarterbacks that they should. Once again, there are new blocking schemes. It's just different all over again, than it was last year. So I think they looked out there and saw that Joe was trying to hold it together, that he was getting hit a lot, that they had tackle problems. I don't think a lot of people were going, oh, my goodness, what is this guy doing out here? I think they could see what he was trying to do and how it just wasn't working for a lot of different reasons. And once again, a lot of those reasons are still going to be there this Sunday. It's just a matter of how Dylan can navigate them.
Is there any sort of advantage for Minnesota that they've been over there for 10 days, or is it a disadvantage that Minnesota has been over there for 10 days?
You never know in these situations. Sometimes it goes the way that you think it's going to go, and sometimes it goes the exact opposite way. Will the Browns just get over here? They're just getting here today. They're going to have to be tired today. There's no way that they won't be tired today, even if they slept on the plane. So they're just getting rolling today. And as you mentioned, the Vikings have been here. You know, they had a day off. Some of them went golfing. They're enjoying London. And so we'll have to see which one of those teams can bring the juice on Sunday. And you never really know how that's going to work out.
I think Pittsburgh went Friday last week, right, for their game. So
Aaron Rodgers was not happy about that. He wanted to be there much earlier.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you have any insight into their thought process of why they chose to go when they did, as opposed to going earlier or later. Why they chose. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just wondering their thought process behind their timing.
Well, I was actually surprised because, as we know by now, Kevin Stefanski likes to get this football team out of Berea as often as possible. And, we've spent a lot of time at the Greenbrier, and we've spent time in Philadelphia, and we've spent time in Los Angeles. And so I was a little surprised that he didn't take advantage of the opportunity to corral his football team, his struggling football team, get here a few days early and kind of bring them all in and pull them together. But, they have exercise scientists and they do things different ways. And I'm sure that they had a method to their madness, and I don't know exactly what the reason is yet.
Mary Kay, Bubba Ventrone, a special teams coach, was he put on notice last week? Just listening to, over the last week, listening to Stefanski, he obviously couldn't have been happy with the special teams play in 3 of the 4 games anyway. But I do wonder if at some point is his job going to be on the line if they continue to have these gaffes, especially with the defense playing as well as they are?
You know what? I don't think so. I don't think that that Bubba is going to be, that his job is going to be in jeopardy in the middle of the season. I don't see that happening because it's too hard to switch everything up. And you can point to the problems in every one of the situations for the most part. I mean, Grant Delpit took responsibility for just making a mental error and thinking the ball was out of bounds on the punt return for a touchdown. You coach that up pretty well, I'm sure, and I don't know how you can blame that on Bubba. And you can't really blame a couple of missed field goals on Bubba, and they've gotten that settled down. But certainly they have to shore up those mistakes, and those special teams have to completely pull together. Sometimes it's a function of the back end of your roster. There's a lot of turnover, and maybe your back end guys aren't performing as well as you need them to. So they've got to get it together there. Those 2 other phases of the game can't keep leaving the championship defense hanging out to dry.
All right, are you on the bus from the hotel with the other Browns beat reporters right now?
I was sitting on there for a little bit of this interview and disturbing them, I'm sure, and then I just jumped off for a minute.
Oh, man. Mary Kay, I was going to have you power rank who was the most hungover or who your favorite beat reporters were, but I'll let you off the hook now since they're not going to be there to hear it.
Well, I'll tell you that one of us just got here this morning, and so he's going to be tired today. And then 3 of us got here yesterday, and we probably got a very good night's sleep last night, I'm guessing.
Oh, what fun is that? Man, you couldn't let me on this. I'd be very persuasive. I would be very bad influence on the rest of the beat. Mary Kay, thank you. Enjoy the trip. We are having fun, and if you need to stick a microphone or a camera in Shedeur Sanders, don't listen to Jason Lloyd. Do your job.
All right, you guys. We'll be in touch. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. There she is, Mary Kay Cabot, plain dealer at Cleveland.com. Boy, a lot of thoughts on what she just said.
Well, I'm sure that everything I said today is going to infuriate everybody I work with, and I totally get it. And by the way, Mary Kay's right when she's talking about access. The NFL takes advantage all the time of limiting access and trying to make guys not available, whatever. I just think in this instance, we're not talking about the starting quarterback. We're not talking about the backup quarterback. We're talking about the 3rd string quarterback.